Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'd like to welcome everyone to Moxie's 30-minute webinar on how Hawk Incentives differentiates with CX in the guided economy. I have a few items to cover, and then we will get started. During this webinar, all lines will be muted to provide better sound quality for participants. We are recording the entire event, and the recording and related materials will be distributed to all attendees via email tomorrow. We have reserved some time for Q&A at the end of this session. You can enter your questions in the WebEx chat panel at any time during the event, and I will queue them up for our presenters to answer at the conclusion of today's presentation. You'll start to see some chats from me in that panel here shortly. Again, feel free to enter your questions at any time. So let's get started. Today's speakers are Brian Strauss, VP Worldwide Field Engineering at Moxie, and Marta Merlino-Calvert at Hawk Incentives. First, let's turn it over to Brian for an introduction. Brian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Gillian. Really looking forward to getting Marta, who's one of our customers, who's going to be presenting today. But before I do that, I just kind of wanted to ground what you're about to see from Marta in kind of a perspective about where the broader sort of digital economy sees itself today in 2018. And what I mean by that is we're not just talking about where Moxie's feature set is going or where sort of engagement vendors are, but we're really looking at the sort of the shift that the internet and digital economies have taken in 2018, and a little bit of history of that, and why it's so important for all of us as businesses, online businesses, or the online arms of brick and mortar businesses, to be aware of where we are so we can pick up and take care and take advantage of the next wave. And so in particular, what we're really seeing is a shift to what we are living in as a guided economy today. We're going to talk about specifically what a guided economy is. Context, putting guided economy into context of some of the other movements that we've seen in the internet or the digital economy in the last 25 years, this is how it fits in. So you guys remember back in 1990 when we first started using email for business, or maybe this predates some of you who are on the call, but that was one of the first huge business shifts into digital, right? That just speeded up communication and started to make commerce more fluid online. 1995, the first e-commerce transaction occurred, right? I think it was a police record or a sting record that was actually purchased. And from there, that ushered in this age of everybody being able to, come online in their bedrooms or wherever they are to engage in commerce. Certainly in 1998, the launch of Google, which made the internet, turned it from the Wild West into a place we could actually blended some structure, allowed us to find things for the first place, really was the next wave that sort of jump-started e-business in earnest, because people could now find our stores online. Of course, the huge mobile shift occurred in 2007 with the launch of the iPhone. And so not only did that popularize mobile devices, but it reset expectations from an experience perspective with the online customer. I mean, that thing was beautiful. It created an incredible customer experience. And therefore, as vendors, as companies online, we really had to up our game to make sure that our businesses matched sort of the expectation that that device and similar devices ushered in. And then, of course, the big shift for e-commerce with social media started in and around 2013, where you weren't just online with Facebook looking at cat videos or your friends' updates, but that when us as companies started to actually create channels where we could leverage the data that Facebook was collecting to market more effectively to our customer bases and get really targeted, focused digital advertising to drive more revenue from the social channels. And then, of course, today, we're now living in this, the new in 2018 is the guided economy. And that's talk about a few examples of that. You may remember the first time, if you had mail 20 odd years ago, when you logged in, it said, "You've got mail." That was sort of the first concept of something guiding us. We logged in, and it's, hey, you've got new emails to take a look at. And that was exciting, right? It was like, it was new. We were online, and we're engaged in this online economy. Over the years, then the guided aspect of our expectations has shifted as the technologies have increased and changed. You've got Waze, right, which was a good example of, I need to get somewhere, and Waze is going to guide me, or similar applications are going to not only guide me to where I need to go in my destination, but it reacts in real time to changes that are occurring. So if traffic builds up or if an accident happens, Waze will then route me around that particular disturbance or that potential struggle that I'm having up ahead. And then, as we see now in 2018, we're starting getting the digital assistants that are becoming almost ubiquitous, right? So whether it's Alexa and whether it's Google Home or Apple's new product, the difference there is not only these things taking requests, but now they're starting to go into an automated guided fashion. They're telling us the weather when we wake up. They're telling us that they're cooling down the house. They're telling us that we need to leave now because traffic is building up. So they're guiding us to where we need to be. And so what's the common thread? So the common thread with all of these incredible moments, these landmark moments in the digital economy, with the guided economy, we're now in a space where we need to be told something, give me something useful before I even realize that I need to know it, right? So help me around a potential point of struggle, or help me through a place where I'm potentially hesitating before I even know that I need to do that. So users, our customers, can start having the same expectation online as they are going to be offline. All right, so let's move into a couple customer examples. All right, so we've got with Crate and Barrel here, we've got the ability to, these folks have used Moxie and used the KBot technologies to drive conversion, to drive order value. They've deployed it on their pre-transactional flows where people are coming in and shopping. And at the unique struggle points, or at the points where people typically have the most conversations or questions, or where they're abandoning, or where they're struggling, or where they're then reaching out for help, we're now offering engagement. That's going to be in the form of someone offering a tip to somebody around how to get there, or it could be specifically, a potential escalation to a live engagement with chat, depending on what the use case is. Okay, so we've seen an incredible uplift in the customer satisfaction rate, great uplift in the average order value, 3x conversion increase, and a 30% increase in customer interactivity. So a big part of this is also using the technology to reach out at key moments where people are likely to engage, as opposed to just throwing out an offer to chat somewhere randomly, or offering chat somewhere on the site and hoping somebody actually uses it. There's also a whole bunch of people out there that don't necessarily want to chat with you, right? There are folks out there that want to self-serve in 2018, and guided things that guide us through, tools that do guided commerce now with Moxie, are allowing customers that don't necessarily want a live interaction a lot of value and assistance to help them self-serve on their own. So here's an example, segueing from retail. Here's an example of a large financial insurance company, right, who's got some even more compelling results in many ways. So they were able to use just using tips at the right moment, right, proactively guide people at known critical hesitation points or known struggle points to drive 30% more quotes initiated, 50% more products sold, and 70% more quotes completed. So those are really big numbers. And are they real? Yes, they're very, very real. These are numbers that came out of this company's own analytics team. I think what this is speaking to, though, is sometimes folks will say, well, geez, does this work for something that's not retail? Does this work in the financial services sector? Does this work in the insurance sector? And the answer is absolutely, maybe even more so. I think that you get these incredible results when you think about, a company that has a lot of complexity signing up for a service online. So whether that's, whether that's insurance or opening an investment account or things where you may not have all the information that you need, or you may hesitate about whether this is the right product for you. A lot of those hesitations can be addressed by addressing them at the key moment. Tell me something I need before I even realize I need it to help me get past a certain point. So certainly we've talked about sort of a kind of a pre-transaction or a conversion centric or kind of thing, but there are other use cases for guiding people, right? We also can guide people to kind of reduce contacts overall, or reduce the number of chats we have, or reduce the number of phone calls and emails that we have. So to really illustrate that, I'm going to let one of our customers speak. Marta from Hawk Incentives is going to take over to talk about how they've implemented Moxie and KBot to achieve some of these results.
Marta?
Good afternoon. Oh,
there you go. I hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we're ready.
All right. Hawk Incentives is a company that we do prepaid card and gift card business on the retail side. And then we also have a rebate business where we help companies process their rebates and provide incentives to customers and employees. So that's where we come in on the Moxie side of this. We believe already that we offer a pretty good experience, a great experience to our customers, but we know that with the ability to guide customers through our websites, we could probably reduce the amount of contacts that we receive. Our volume is tens of thousands per year. And in some months it could be contacts, more than 10,000. So the idea is for us to try and reduce this. And we used Moxie to do that. We were already a Moxie email and chat client, and now we have put into place the Moxie Concierge and then the KBot experience. So the first thing that we did was we took a set of clients and decided to implement Moxie Concierge on those clients. This particular clients here, we wanted to make sure that the visitors that came to the website knew that Concierge was installed. And so we implemented a welcome message that we basically use on all of the sites that have Concierge installed in. So you can see on this slide that we have the welcome message. It basically says, we're here to help. This is how you use Concierge. Click on the bell. And the idea here is that at any point in time, with the Concierge bell, the customer on any one of the web pages within the site, they can click on that bell and either browse the FAQs from where they are at or ask for help, whether that be through chat, email, or phone. And so, again, we were able to, by looking at all of our different websites that we have available for our customers, and specifically on the rebate side, where we began all of this work, it came down to a set of 5 to 10 rules that will work for every one of these clients, because the websites are a certain format. And it's very easy for us to implement these websites one right after the other, using the same rules, different URLs when you go in to create them. But basically, it is very easy to keep customers on the website, finishing whatever it is they're trying to do, whether it be track a rebate or submit a rebate or whatever. They're able to, using through Moxie Concierge, they're able to search the FAQs that are available to them. The next example that we have is actually where we did some investigation. We analyzed some of the data, our contact data, that the customers, the reasons why customers were contacting us. And one of the major reasons that we found, of course, is, they want to know the status of their rebate. Where is it? Where's my money? How come it's taking so long? And so we have on all of our websites a tracking web page where the customer can go and enter either their name or a tracking number and try and find the status of their rebate. And so at this point, we want to kind of deflect and offer them as much information as possible. So we have rules in place that will pop and say, you're tracking your rebate, this is the information that's required. On some of these tracking pages, there are two options, and the options are not highlighted, so it's hard for a customer to understand that they can search either by tracking number or by their name and zip code. And so we offer that verbiage within the context of Concierge. And again, what we're trying to do is get the customer to self-serve, which eliminates a chat or a phone contact or even an email contact. And again, most of the reasons why it takes long is because the processing takes a little bit of time, and we want to make that clear to our customers through the use of Concierge. So here again, we're just guiding them along the way, and if they actually get to their submission, we also have Concierge verbiage that says, okay, this is the status of your rebate, this is what it means, this is how long you should wait, and all of that information is available so that, again, the customer has it at their fingertips and they don't necessarily have to contact us. And then we also provide our customers on most of our websites the ability through Concierge to search the FAQs. And that's a big deal because right now the way the websites are set up, there's actually a tab or something where you go to the frequently asked questions and they're all listed out there, but there's no context that those FAQs go to. They're just a list of questions. And so by using Concierge, we're able to apply it to a specific web page or a specific question that the customer may have, and we're able then to feed them that information right on that page. So again, they don't have to navigate away. They can just stay where they are. Hopefully the FAQ answers their questions that they may have, and again, if not, then they're able to chat with us. And the last piece of this basically is that all of our sites have a Contact Us page, and most of our clients allow us to, or most of our clients pay for chat, phone, and email. And we never really had a way of deflecting away from the phone and email, which for our purposes are our most costly contact methods. And so the idea here is we want to deflect down into our chat channel because of the issues with those chat agents. They can do 3, 4 chats at a time. It's much cheaper for us to support the customer. And again, most of the questions are checking status questions, or, you know, where is my money, or I got an invalid submission on the website, or I got an invalid notice in the mail or email or something. And our agents could just take that tracking number, go to a different system, figure out what's going on, and come immediately back to the customer. So by doing, 4 of those at a time, it's way cheaper than taking 1 phone call or 1 email at a time. So we implemented this ability to, hey, you chose phone, but why don't you chat with us now because our chat queue is waiting to assist you. Or click on the email and we get a pop that says, hey, you're emailing us, but you could chat with us right now. Our agents are ready and available to chat with you. And we try to deflect away from those 2 items to make that happen. And then we saw, again, just Moxie itself. We did 16 sites within 90 days. It was a pretty easy implementation schedule. We're now at 28 sites, and I have 4 more that will be going up in the next month. And the reason why it's taking, it takes a while is because our clients have an onboarding process. So it's not necessarily the concierge or the implementation of the KBot which takes me all of about 20 minutes or less, you know, everything else has to be in place. So it really is pretty easy for me to copy in 5 rules and set the URL in there, and this slide that says 10 minutes per site is pretty accurate. It just doesn't take very long at all. Again, we've identified those 5 to 10 places, and all those rules are in place in previous sites, so anything coming new, it's just a matter of copy and paste. We really think that the ability to map items on the web page makes it really easy for us to set up those rules. You can see on this slide it has the element mapper showing, and that makes our task pretty easy. I can map one element on one website, and that element can be used across multiple websites. Again, because we're using a format for all of these websites, but those elements on the pages are named the same throughout. They are general names. I map one, and it's good to go for all the rest of the websites. So the mapper was an easy tool for us to use. And we just implemented KBot in the last month. Our initial decrease in contacts from just Moxie was 5 to 10%. KBot has decreased those contacts or pushed those contacts to chat by another 5 to 10%. Depends on the client. But we're seeing some advantages here, trying to reduce our costs and push to the cheaper mode of contacting us. And as we go forward, our task is to analyze the implementation of all these rules and figure out where else can we put a pop in place or a check in place to provide our customer with additional information. So we've been happy pretty much. It seems to deflecting where we need it to deflect, and it is reducing our costs.
Thank you, Marta. Now, Brian, back to you for a quick kind of recap of some of the best practices that I know both you and Marta went through.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, I think one of the interesting hallmarks of what Marta just talked about, right, is really time to value. And so as some of the practices here on the page, I think some important elements, though, maybe that I can just leverage from what she said. Not a lot of rules. So this is not a deep integration effort where you have to connect a lot of back-end systems. This is not the same as deploying like a full chatbot or anything like that. This is a much simpler, much quicker time to value, focused on your known struggle and abandonment points and the FAQs, the answers to the FAQs, putting those in front of the right people. And so I think the important things here to really lay that down are you want to make sure that you're contextually, proactively, and contextually engaging people on all of your devices. I think we need to pay attention to the fact that the majority of our traffic is on mobile now, and that can't be a secondary offering. So we can do this in your app, we can do this on mobile web, and we really should make sure that since the majority of our traffic is now in those two places, that we're addressing it there. And again, it's proactive. So some of the interesting results here that we've seen are that in many cases, the answers to the struggle points or the hints to get around the struggle points are available in other forms on these same sites where we have these results. They're hidden in tooltips, they're hidden under the FAQ page. They're certainly available if I channel shift to the phone, but putting them proactively, popping them up the answer when I get to a product or select a product that I know is going to generate a lot of questions, that's the goal. That's really where we see the key results. And again, helping visitors self-serve along the journey. This serves everybody's goal, right? As more and more customers are on these digital devices, these mobile devices, with high expectations for your business and your what they really realize is that they don't necessarily want to talk to you, but they still need help. What they want to do is self-serve. So by proactively offering the top self-serve items, we really can achieve everybody's goals. And then again, we're not saying that chat is falling by the wayside or the phone or the email necessarily, but really preserving those for the higher value engagements, the more unique cases. This is sort of the 80-20 rule where using the deflection techniques and proactive guidance to handle ultimately the overwhelming majority of potential interactions, so we don't have to tie up agents with those, and then leaving our agents to focus on the more unique and critical or higher value circumstances. And with that, Gillian, that's about it.
Perfect. Well, now we'll open it up in the next couple of minutes for some Q&A time for both Brian and Marta. I have a few that have already come in. If you have additional questions, feel free to enter them in the chat panel. You should already see some entered there for us. And of course, if you think of anything else after the fact, you can go through any of those methods that you see there under Contact Us. But let's jump into questions in the few minutes we have remaining. Marta, the first one was from you, and it's from Jim. Jim wanted to know, what did you use to determine the common reasons that people are contacting you? You mentioned that you try to streamline that and proactively offer up that information. How did you know what those questions were?
Okay, so on that piece, we have a CMR system, or a CRM system, that we use to track all of our submissions. And so when an agent goes in and takes a phone call, they have to document what the problem was. So we can run reports out of that CRM system and take a look at what kinds of issues customers are calling us for, and then order those in, in relation to most reasons used or most reasons called. So it was actually for us pretty easy because that was already in our system, and it's just a matter of running a couple of reports.
Okay, great. And a follow-up question to that, one part's for you, and I think maybe the second part's for Brian, but Beth wanted to know, are you for all your clients that you have, are there mobile variations of the proactive information that you're popping up?
Okay, so the mobile version is actually Moxie. So when I install or put Moxie Concierge on any one of the websites that we create, then that concierge piece is already mobile. So we don't do anything specific to our websites to make them mobile. But with the concierge piece of it, I think Brian can answer that. It's already mobile ready, and so the way it overlays on a website on a mobile device is already there.
So Brian,
yeah,
can you follow
thank
up?
you.
And one thing too, I'll finish the end of that question, which was, can you customize it separately from mobile versus a desktop instance?
Yeah, so there's two ways to answer this question. One is sort of the technical, and Marta's right. Automatically, technically, anything that you build will be adjusted from a form factor. It's fully responsive, so that it will automatically adjust based on the customer's device type. However, there's also sort of a marketing or a segmentation way to answer this. So you may want to address specific use cases for mobile folks, or you may have specific, targeting that you want to do, or guidance that you want to do because your responsive version of the site presents specific obstacles or challenges or decision points. So yes, you can specifically, if you want, by default, all of the rules go out to everybody, but then you can pull that back and you can say, hey, look, for these specific customers, I want to target people that who are landing on my campaign landing pages because I know that bounce rate is much higher for mobile users. So I'm going to do some special tricks to engage those people. And that's as simple as selecting a checkbox when you're creating your rule to decide which devices are engaged.
Okay, and I think the last question, and I'll ask Marta, I don't know if she has any, but the last question was around what types of content you can display, videos, things like that. I think, Marta, all of yours might be text-based. Is that correct?
We have text and images in some of our content, and I know that we can do videos. Moxie does support that. However, at this time, we don't have any videos posted. Okay, and Brian, is that correct? Video, anything else in types of content there?
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, I think what the most important thing is to think of is what do you have, being aware of where the person is in the journey and where you're engaging them will somewhat determine what you're offering, right? So you may have, if it's earlier on in the journey and you're selling stuff, you may have great content on your YouTube channel, like reviews or things that help people decide between options. That's a great time to use a video. Or if you have, you're trying to limit costs because people return items incorrectly, and you have a video that explains it. Perfect use case for a video. So I think whereas if you just want to prompt somebody with a coupon code that works when they try a failed coupon code, if they are a high value customer, obviously that probably won't be a video. That's going to be a very short case. Here's one that works. So I think it really comes down to, you know, what's the right thing for the right moment? What's the right channel or the right answer for the right struggle or hesitation? But certainly, you know, articles, images, videos, rich content, it's all responsive, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, ending right on time. So that will wrap us up for today. As I stated at the beginning of the event, we did record this webinar, and the recording and related materials will be sent to everyone on the call tomorrow morning. And if you have any further questions or want to find out more, you can certainly respond to any of the emails that you've received from us about this event or through the channels that you see there on your screen. Thank you again, Marta from Hawk Incentives, for being on. Thoroughly appreciate you joining us today.
You're welcome.
And thank you to everyone that attended. Have a nice day.